Hello and welcome, everybody, to the MAGA podcast. This is David Lopez, founder and host of the podcast. This is season number 1, episode number 9, and it's coming out November of 2025. We have a great guest today who's doing some great work in the Commonwealth by the name of John Gaskey. He's a state rep in the Plymouth 2nd District, which covers Carver, Wareham, and the southern part of Middleborough. He's also a successful engineer, and he's doing some great work in the Commonwealth for each and every one of us. Enjoy the interview with John Gaskey. Thank you. So I'm really happy to have you here. So I guess just a couple of quick questions as we get started. I know there's a lot of issues that we can chat about. I guess the first thing is, because we want to motivate people, how did you get started, in the political space? Was there something, a moment in your life that kind of shaped you and got you going?
Um, yeah, not really. I guess it was, shortly after we moved into town. I moved to Carver in 2017, and it was interesting seeing, things that were happening in town. There was a lot of questions about what was happening, and started watching the local channel, and seeing all the different boards and stuff, and then people talking about the different boards and how you don't really have to be anything special to try to run or anything else like that. So I threw my name in the hat for planning board, and that was the start of my journey. I sat on the Carver planning board for 5 years,
Yep.
and then my wife actually introduced me to Mark Swan over in Wareham, and we started talking and doing a standout for Trump, prior to the signature collection, the start of the signature collection for the 24 race, and during the conversation, it just kind of came up. Hey, we're looking for people to run and to do things for state office and stuff like that. And I guess I had said things the right way, or said the right things, and he was just like, "Hey, you should come meet some people and see about getting started." And I went to a meeting of the Massachusetts Freedom Fighters. And a gentleman I'm sure you're familiar with him, Jim Lyons,
Of course.
was there, and basically recruited me there, and the rest is history. We were off to the races after that.
So what do you like most about it? I mean, it's has its ups and downs, but what kind of keeps you going?
Um, I got to tell you, the what has shocked me has been shocked me the most, and really kind of keeps me going, is some of the constituent issues. Um, we've had a lot of good success. My aide Kayla, she's awesome, and together we've had a lot of success with um, getting people getting people settled with housing that were homeless or facing homelessness, and getting some of that sorted out. We've a lot of unemployment, the DUA. Those guys, I'm not sure what system they're using, but from my understanding, it's supposed to be a new system. Um, but I think they should ask for their money back, because it's really not effective. And there's a lot of people that are just sitting there waiting for months to hear anything back. And a lot of times, they call us saying, "Hey, I haven't heard anything," and we send a couple of emails. We've got our contacts. It's like a regular thing that um, every couple of days we're sending off two or three or four emails, and next thing you know, everybody's calling back saying, "Thank you so much. If the deposit's coming, it's on its way." So
That's great. And
yeah, yeah.
so what is your biggest challenge been so far, and sort of how have you overcome it?
Um, I guess my biggest challenge so far is um, kind of trying to make inroads at the state house itself with especially with the Democrat legislature, and just trying to figure that whole thing out. It became fairly apparent at the beginning that I wasn't really wanted. Um, you know,
That's a challenge.
they did not like the idea of some new guy coming in, especially one that has a mouth and is willing to call balls and strikes the way that they are, and it's it's made some it's made for some difficult conversations at times.
Gotcha. But it takes a skill to be able to navigate that when you're, up against
Yeah,
the wall, so to speak. But hey, that means you have great communication skills and the ability to deal with challenging situations, and that's a really couple of good skills to have. So
yeah,
congratulations on that. So as we mentioned before, we're trying to motivate people to get in. We just had elections, and we can chat about that in the next few minutes, but so I guess on one hand, the good news is the Mass GOP sent out an email, I think maybe yesterday, that there was some great successes out there at the local level, and so that's really good to hear.
yes,
And we need more of it, obviously, but at least people are stepping up now, and
yeah.
I think that's a positive that we can build on. So my question would be, what advice would you give sort of an individual trying to get involved at this point, especially in Massachusetts, where it's not always easy, like you said?
Don't be afraid. Just just do it, and follow your gut. There's a lot of people that will um, try to work their way in and try to ride your coattails, or even worse, um, bleed you dry.
Okay,
And it's uh, it's really important that you trust your gut and and not let stuff like that happen. Um, and being a person of I'm Catholic, and I lean on that, and my belief in God and Jesus and everything. It's I mean, I ran my campaign, my original campaign, unafraid, to mention that I leaned on it, and I freely spoke about it. Um, and I think it's a good thing. I know that it doesn't always fit in some of the areas of the state, but I think when you still lean on your faith and lean on your moral convictions, people like that. They want to see a real person, and they want to see somebody who's different from what's there already. So
gotcha. So that's great, because we need those people involved. So that brings me to like a major demographic, and that's Gen Z. And
yeah,
so, I guess on the good side, we look at the participation in the Trump campaign in 2024. The Gen Z was, a pretty big force.
right.
Fast forward to this year, especially the elections from earlier this week, where the Gen Z was a little maybe not as engaged. How would you approach Gen Z? And I guess the definition 18 to 29 is probably that demo. John, what would you think would appeal to those folks to get involved at this point?
Um, well, I know that it's hard. Um, the way things are happening right now, especially when you're that age, getting started, um, trying to find your own way and things like that. It's tough. When I was that age, just getting started out, especially when I was young in the military, um, I had to roll quarters to go to the grocery store and buy dinner sometimes. Um, it, but The big thing is, that's the it's the danger and the um, excitement of being free. Um, the and then you've got the opportunity that's always there, and all you have to do is see it and go for it. Um, I encourage everybody to challenge. Don't sit back and just wait for your opportunity. You got to challenge it. You got to see it, and you got to be the leader that you want. If you think that somebody's not doing the right job, let them know. Step And the best way to let them know is to step up and challenge them
Gotcha.
for all this stuff. And given what's happening in today's world, we cannot. You, if there's something that you believe in and feel strongly about, you gotta take it all the way. You gotta stay with it. You can't sit back 1 year, or these days you can't sit back a month and not do anything. You got to pay attention. You don't necessarily have to be fully engaged all the time and running from everything to for trying to do everything all at once, but stay in the know and pay attention.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that's a major demo that we got to continue to motivate and focus. The other one that was interesting just from the elections this week, and I'll be gentle with this one, of course, but you look at the percentage of women that voted for the folks in New York, New Jersey, and Virginia, up around 80% or so, if you believe those numbers. And so that's another demo that we got to really kind of think about in terms of understanding the motivation and the needs of that demo. Any suggestions around that? I know it's a delicate, subject and so forth, but that was just an interesting result from Tuesday's election.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that I don't really know how. Um, uh, I don't really know how we're going to be able to make inroads on something like that. I know that a lot of the situations that we're going through with society right now, with um, the age of marriage is increasing, the number of children being born is decreasing, um, and there's so much of kind of that looking to the government to be the cure, and I need something and I need it now, and I want the government to fix it, and a kind of a lack of responsibility, and it's it's hard to look inside and take personal responsibility for things, and to really step out and embrace that whole liberty mindset of smaller government. I can do this on my own. I don't need somebody else to fix my problems. I can fix my own problems,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And but as far as especially with the female demographic, it's just going to be a matter of women guiding each other out. It's just like how, like, we have the Girl Scouts, and you've got the Scout moms who teach the younger Girl Scouts um, the lessons and that they need, as far as, excuse me, as far as how they participate in society. Just like with the Boy Scouts, and the men teaching the boys what they need, as far as being in society and making themselves productive members and things like that. And it's just a matter of I think as much accepting that, and really um, looking for companionship, as opposed to just I want to do this. I don't need family. I don't need kids. I don't need men, or men saying I don't need women. We all need each other. And yeah.
That's cool. I mean, it's so true, but it's something we have to figure out because that was just that stuck out at me. I don't think anyone was really overly thrilled with the results of the election, but it is what it is. But I mean, like anything else, you have to analyze it and
Right.
come up with a strategy. So I'm just curious about that. So let's chat a little bit. I mean, you got a key issue we're going to delve into, but I want a little bit more about being a state representative because you mentioned Jim Lyons, good guy. He
Yes.
recruited me. So this is probably like 22-ish, 2022, 21, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
Yeah, so he recruited me as well. And I was able to get, it was like toward the end of things, I was able to get signatures in a couple of weeks just by going crazy.
Hmm.
I didn't end up doing it, but I was always appreciative, of him even thinking of me in that regard. So
Yeah.
he was great at recruiting. I mean, there's no question, about that. So tell me about your journey to be state rep. I didn't do it, so I want to hear from you. Like you were successful at it. So maybe you can motivate others to, kind of like how the mechanics of doing it, and then what life is like as a state representative.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the mechanics, the I think the hardest thing when I was getting started is figuring out exactly where my district was.
Yeah.
I was out collecting signatures, and I spent days and days collecting signatures in these different areas that I thought were my district.
Okay.
Come to find out, they're not in my district.
Oh, goodness.
Or only half the people that came by were in my district and whatnot. So I would uh, I would go and I go turn in my signatures, and three-quarters of them would come back ineligible. So it's out there and to fight again. And it was just one of those things that just I just kept at it and chipped away, and finally I basically on the last day we finally got we're required 150, and I got 153 certified. And then uh, my opponent challenged me, but then withdrew their challenge. Because I think the reason for that was something about they didn't have their challenge certified, or something like that. So um, it was so we went forward with the primary, and when it came to the primary, I got out. I was very lucky. The RTC down in Wareham was very supportive of me because Mark Swan was the chair down there,
Mhm.
and those guys were extremely supportive, and they got out, and they helped knock on doors and get the message out. I mean, some of the folks here in Carver, friends of, especially friends of my wife, because I worked, so I didn't have many ties as far as friends around town and stuff. I had coached a little bit and different things like that, but I didn't feel like I could ask anybody to, hey, want to take me around, go door knocking, and do this, follow me on this political journey, and um, so Mary knew some people, and who were very willing to help, and so just slowly this machine just built, and we got through the primary, and then into the general. We just kept it rolling. We adjusted our tactic as far as uh, where we were door knocking. So it went from, because we we focused. Jason was great because um, he provided us in the primary all the primary voters for the last couple of years. So we focused entirely on the people that we know are voters in primaries. Um, and then when we moved into the general, we focused on the people that had voted, um, that had taken, first off, was the people that took early votes. And we focused on getting to as many of those as we could. And then as those numbers dwindled, we got closer to the deadline. on that. Then we shifted focus to people day of voting type voters, and shifted to that. And we just kept going and kept going, and probably knocked on, I would say, anywhere from 3 to 5 thousand homes we knocked on, between the folks in Carver and Wareham, Middleborough, um, guys helping me at the uh, driving me around in Middleborough and stuff. It was fantastic, good stuff.
So did you, just out of curiosity, so a lot of door knocking, did you
Yes.
do phone work as well? I mean, is that because I'm
They, yeah, well, the phone work kind of came closer to the more into the general side, trying to get people. We had just gotten everybody used to door knocking,
yeah.
and then everybody's like, "Well, I don't want to get on the phone." I don't know. It was everybody was really nervous about getting on the phone, but then we started using the dialer system and stuff like that. I think it's called Red Dialer or something, but
Yep.
it was really good because we could you could sit there, you could get a list, and you could go through, leave your message or talk to somebody briefly and move on to the next person pretty quickly. Um, and uh, so like the last month or so, we did a lot of the dialing while we were like mostly the RTCs were and other volunteers were doing the dialing. I was still out door knocking, trying to meet people and stuff like that. So
That's awesome. So as state rep, so I looked online and so you've sponsored several bills. Is that correct? So uh,
yes.
like so if I'm not mistaken, there was a number of them. So is there a favorite or is there a great success story, in terms of one of the bills that you sponsored, kind of going all the way? I mean, I'm sure it's a huge
Um,
challenge, learning experience too.
Oh yeah, the learning experience, the learning curve is tremendous because it feels like a lot of times like you're up there and you're just kind of set up to fail, and it's almost like it is by design, so that uh, you will reach out and try to start forming those relationships, and that's the I spent a lot of years working as a field engineer, so I'm used to working by myself and figuring everything out. So going up to the state house is a big was a big change in how I have to, changing the way I operate. And But yeah, as one of my favorite bills, what is one that I actually worked with. It hasn't gotten a hearing,
Mhm.
um, because I think they're scared of it. Or wait a minute, no, actually, we did get a hearing on it, but I don't think it's going anywhere.
Okay.
Um, but it is to end transgender surgeries, transgender stuff for minors. Um, and it was I actually worked with a gentleman by the name of Simon Price, Simon Amara Price. Really, really great guy. Um, we worked on it together because he was trans and he detransitioned, and he came up to me after the first news conference that I had with MFI, and we started working right then to get a bill together, um, to end this stuff, and feel like it's a really really strong piece of legislation, um, and I hope that we can get it moving forward at some point in time. Um, but There's that, and then I think one of my successes is actually in the transgender world, again, is for detransitioners. Right now, they're faced with kind of hung out to they're kind of hung out to dry when they decide, well, no, I don't want to be. the opposite sex anymore. I want to go back to my natural self. Um, the Basically the insurance companies are saying, nah, we're not covering that.
Interesting.
Uh, yeah. So to be able to return back, if you need anything to get you back to where you're supposed to be, there's no assistance right now, and people are being left hung out to dry, especially those that had one form of surgery or another, um, to try to repair the damage that was done, and so they're having to pay for it themselves, find other ways to pay for it themselves instead of getting the insurance to help, like the insurance is required to help going the opposite direction. So, it's right now, it's Massachusetts law that if somebody wants to transition, then you have to pay for it. But it's not necessarily paid for to detransition. Um,
So why like that? Why would that be? Is that because the powers that be out there just wanted to go in one direction, or did they not think it through for people who want
yeah.
to reverse it? I mean, how does that happen?
Well, I think on this case, I think it was, you've heard the term or the phrase, you'd rather have would you rather have a dead daughter or a living son?
Interesting. Wow.
Um, so it was proposed that these surgeries are life saving.
Okay.
So the by that definition, these surgeries, because they're life saving, then they're covered by insurance. But when you're going back the other direction, well, it's not really life saving, is it? Because you've just changed your mind, and to go back, and it's not quite so simple,
Yeah, sure.
uh, because we've as evidence has shown, that they're not, um, the rate of suicide is still obscenely high for transgender individuals. So to be able to go back, it's, uh, I mean, when you if you decide that you're not going from a girl to a boy, and being a boy isn't working for you, and you realize that you need to be a girl, now you're gender dysphoric as a boy, and you should be treated the same way as far as coming back to being a girl,
Right.
coming back to your natural state, and that's the thing that I think we're finally starting to make inroads on. I did, we filed that. I got a bill filed. It finally got a companion bill for the Senate,
Mhm.
so there's hope. Senator Fatman sponsored the companion bill in the Senate, so there's hope that we'll get some positive movement on
So
this one.
that I'm sorry to interrupt. So just so I'm learning myself, but so that companion bill is really like a necessity for legislation to move forward generally, or it
It
helps?
really helps. Yeah, yeah. It really helps when something can be bicameral like that. Um, I mean, if there's any Democrats that are listening today, please sign on. It would help to make it a bipartisan and bicameral. That would pretty much guarantee that it would see the floor, and get a vote.
Gotcha. So good
But
luck with that. I mean, that's a
I
lot of
appreciate
hard
it. Thank
work.
you.
That's
Yeah,
that's and really, it's just interesting because you're learning as you're going. It
yeah.
sounds like too. So that's,
Oh, absolutely.
my hat's off to you just in terms of being able to navigate opposition, the paperwork, the procedures, the whole thing.
Yeah,
So congratulations on, all your great efforts on that, and hopefully it continues.
yeah, yeah. Some of the other stuff that I've been doing, um, I'm really big supportive of the Civil Rights Coalition and what they're doing to repeal 135. I think that's one of the most egregious pieces of legislation to come out of Massachusetts in a well, in a long time.
And just for the listeners out there, John, like what is the
Uh,
135? Yes,
Chapter 135 is the act to modernize firearms laws.
that's right. Okay.
And it is they when they modernized it, they basically made it almost impossible for a law-abiding gun owner to be able to um, participate in the things that they enjoy,
Yeah.
as far as like being a sports shooter, being a hunter. Um, I carry. Um, as far as personal defense and things like that. It the the updated laws were so egregious. Uh, there's now like they already had a registry. Whenever you purchased a firearm, you basically registered with the state that you were buying this firearm. So they had the serial number, they had the type, they have everything about the firearm. Well, now there's a new registry that is, if you have any antique firearms or anything else like that, um, you have to register all of those. And they banned different firearms, semi-automatic shotguns, semi-automatic rifles. Um, the the latest description of assault style or assault looking firearms, um, it, to me, is laughable. It's obvious that you don't know anything that you're talking about because, and like to call them weapons of war. But when you go back and historically speaking, a flintlock was a weapon of war. That was the weapon that got us to where we are today. But yeah, they've put restrictions on black powder as well. Um, it's yeah, it's really made it tough for the sport to continue, and for the Second Amendment to survive here in Massachusetts, which is uh, which is a real shame because it is our right. And they've had several cases recently that came out and reaffirmed that right. And Massachusetts has just kind of gone,
Yeah.
nope. Here's the thumb right in your
Let's
eye.
try.
Not going to happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay. So great work on that. So
Yeah.
switch gears just a little bit. One of your key issues, I believe, that you're involved in is the zoning. Is that correct? Like the
Yeah.
zoning, the permitting. Um, so I'm an entrepreneurship guy, and I'm a big fan of small businesses, and zoning affects many things, obviously, but
Yeah.
where somebody's going to open up a business, the regulatory regime they have to go through. So if you could let us know a little bit about your work in that space, that would be great.
Yeah. Well, that's as far as some of that stuff goes. My time on the planning board kind of showed me how difficult it is for developers to navigate the bylaws of different towns and things like that. Um, and especially not even just the professional, developer, somebody who's doing something, but even just the private individual that just wants to either put a garage on their property or things like that. It it's really um, the amount of the number of hoops they have to jump through to try to get something done. It's really daunting. I would love to see that eased, some of those restrictions eased, but not at the level of what they're trying to do with the MBTA Communities Act and stuff. Because where I've got the three towns I represent, Wareham, Carver, and the southern part of Middleborough, they're all essentially vastly different communities. Like, Middleborough's got a train station, and they had been already building stuff, but because they didn't want to bend the knee to the state and lay down this thing that they had no control over.
Yep.
They fought it. They had a zone created that essentially did the same thing, except that they could actually had zoning control. Um, Whereas the MBTA Communities Act, once you set that, you've got no zoning control.
Right.
You've got no control whatsoever. The state's going to come in, the developer's going to come in, build what they want to build as much as they can, as um, to within reason, within safety reasons. Um, and like Wareham doesn't have the train station, but because of the type of community they are, they're very welcoming of that type of housing. Yeah, go ahead, put up some apartments where it's a much more of a transient type community where they have, given that it's a beach, basically a beach town and stuff like that. So they have need for different types of housing and stuff down there. And then Carver is very rural, very agrarian. So we're farming. We have no infrastructure for anything down here, and so they're fighting hair, tooth, and toenail to keep the zoning out of the area and stuff. So it's been some interesting challenges working with all that stuff, trying to represent, make sure that I represent properly for each one of my communities.
Perfect. I mean, again, what a terrific learning experience, though.
Yeah, it really is. It
I'm a
really
big fan of, personal growth, development, and challenges and expanding horizons, whatever. But it sounds like an awesome journey. I mean, regardless of the outcomes, and hopefully they all work out, but just in terms of your own personal development, sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. The a lot of gone through training with different companies and stuff, and they're like, hey, it's time to drink through the fire hose.
Yeah, right.
I got to tell you, it's nothing. That stuff is nothing compared to what I've had to go through with the learning curve here with the state house and stuff. It's not a fire hose. It's a firehouse that you're having to
Yeah. Oh, I
deal
love
with.
it. I love it. But you come out of it a better person. I mean, you're
Oh,
just well-rounded and all that good stuff. So,
yeah.
my hat's off to you, like I said. So we got just a few minutes left, John. So a couple different things. So you mentioned Carver, right? So it's a Carver RTC that you're involved in, right?
Yes, yeah, I'm a member of the Carver RTC.
Yeah.
I'm involved with the Wareham RTC, and I communicate with the Middleborough RTC.
Of course, good. So I'm a big fan, put it this way, I'm a big fan of the potential of these RTC and RCCs, right?
Hmm.
I was a chair here in Stowe for a while, and I approached it as a business because I'm a business guy. And not every RTC um, kind of lives up to that potential, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
Like any organization, it depends on the leader. Some RTCs are more of a social, gathering, which is fine. It's great, and people
yeah,
complain, and it's great to have somewhere to go. But I was always with the understanding and belief that a good, strong RTC can affect local policy, whether it's to recruit candidates, influence policy, as I mentioned, do charitable work, or just be kind of a policy think tank on a local level. And so it's so good to see like a state rep, out there kind of working with the RTCs. And
yeah.
I mean, are they all, we don't want to throw anyone under the bus. I'm sure they're all great, of course. But, do you see some of that activity in those local RTCs, or at least a potential?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So Wareham and Carv Wareham is very, very active. They're really they're trying to recruit. They're trying to bring more people in, and they're supporting people getting on some of the local boards and whatnot. Carver, um, they were quiet for a little while, but then they ramped up, and then now we're really really trying to expand and really trying to get the youth involved. I mean, right now both of the RTCs were we're all close to senior citizens. As far as the people that are on the boards, it would be nice. It would be really good for the youth uh, to really step up. And it's because it is a good way, like you were saying, it's a good way to affect policy, and to it's another avenue for you to have your voice heard, and uh, just if nothing else, now you've got help. It's a way. And it's a place to start to learn your how to be a little bit more political, and shape your, if you've got a plan for something, if you have an idea of something or a policy or something that you want to work, it's a good place to help get it shaped into something that could be very effective for the local area.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing too, we tend to feel isolated a little bit in as conservatives in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
I'm speaking the obvious, right?
yeah,
But it's so nice to go into a room with whatever the number is, 5, 10, 50, whatever the
yeah.
number is, that
Like-minded individuals.
nice people that want to
Yeah,
do the right thing.
absolutely.
And it just is a good feeling. So, John, so again, I want to say thank you so much. Phenomenal guest. You're doing awesome work out there. Any closing words of wisdom, for people out there that are, just trying to help out and get involved?
Um, uh, I would just say for everybody, reach out to your, if you want to get involved, reach out to your rep and say, I want to volunteer. Um, and from there, um, you can definitely you can get involved with the RTCs. Find your local RTC. Facebook is a great place. Um, Call your rep, say you want to volunteer. You need help finding some place to volunteer. We will all help, and we'll get you in the right. It will get you in the right place. The more the merrier.
Terrific, John. Thanks so much. So, everyone listening, I want to thank you for listening. The website is massmaga.com. You can submit candidate information, RTC information, any online resources, and any events as well. So, John, thanks very much. Everybody, have a terrific day.
Thanks a lot, David. Have a good one.